The $1 billion company finally explained. So, if you're not in tech Twitter or you're not into startups, if you haven't been following around or you've just been living under a rock, now, for the longest time, startups, Y Combinator, I think it's been actually popularized by, say, like Sam Altman, the guy who pretty much created OpenAI, right? Basically, the main face behind OpenAI. For the longest time, they've been talking about this concept of a $1 billion startup, all founded and created by one person, right? For the longest time, it was just kind of difficult to imagine and visualize what exactly this would look like. You know, how do you even run a $1 billion startup or company as a single man operator? How do you even do this? You know what I mean? And it's not like you can't do it. There's been many cases where, say, with just a very small team, lean teams of just like 10, 20 people, Cursor AI. Some of these people are scaling to like 100 million in annual recurring revenue. And more recently, I actually wanted to share MedVi, which is this health company, right? They're selling basically GLP-1, which is like a fat loss peptide, I believe what it is. And they were recently on track to make $1 billion in sales with just a two-man operation. I think it's with the guy who founded it and then also his brother, I believe. And then they automated a bunch of systems on the back end from, say, marketing to, say, customer service fulfillment with AI, right? So it's just a two-man team. These guys pulled in, say, 400 million in revenue, and then they were literally on track to do $1 billion. But then recently they got caught up in some stuff. They got caught up in a bit of a mess of just creating fake doctor accounts and then, say, advertising with them. So I don't know where they're currently at, or if like their whole thing is going to get shut down or whatnot. But obviously there is a bit of a problem these two folks ran into, but nonetheless, the idea isn't really to talk about them, but that is actually a very recent study. But the thing is that there are many startups, many companies that were just founded with just a lean team of a few people. You know what I mean? Lean team, a few people, because now with, say, software code, and now in 2026 with AI agents, there is so much leverage out there that it's quite amazing what you can do with startups. You know what I mean? And the thing is, I actually want to show on my computer this idea by, what's his name? Naval Ravikant. And I love this idea. It's because it's so powerful, and I've talked about it in a few of my other videos. But the thing is that there are these different kinds of leverage out there, right? And for a long time, it's been permission-based and permissionless leverage. So when it's permission-based, like, you have to ask people for money. You have to ask people to let them work for you, right? And only they will agree whether or not, say, they're getting paid a fair price, or, say, maybe they'll invest in you, lend you some money with maybe some terms or something like that. So these are all permission-based forms of leverage. Whereas with the new form of leverage that are making people insanely rich in, say, like the 2000s, stuff like that, they are code and media. So these are permissionless forms of leverage where you do not need anyone's permission or, say, approval to do something about it. Like, you put out a piece of content on YouTube, on TikTok, Instagram, and the thing just constantly goes out there and works for you. Thing is, like, some videos online posted by people, they don't go viral until a couple years later, because that's when, say, all of a sudden a topic goes viral and it just explodes. You know what I mean? So it just really depends on what the algorithms favor on, say, a platform, and then what it does with your content. So that is extremely powerful. And especially too, if you compound it, like, in the beginning, if you just look at this as from like a 2-year perspective, a 5-year perspective, or even like a 10-year perspective, what happens is that this content and all this stuff is that you're creating, it all compounds at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So what you do now, at some point, is going to compound, and all your videos are just going to be working for you. It's insane leverage, right? If you don't know how to build, if you don't know how to create products, whatever, this is one of the best ways how you can shine your talent of, say, speaking on the internet, whatever, and creating like massive brands off that. Like Oprah. Oprah is this massive billion-dollar woman, right? And she really just, all it really started with her is just becoming a TV personality. I'm not saying she's a one-man operator or show or anything like that, but she has massive leverage. And the whole point of what I'm trying to demonstrate here is like this leverage. And then the more newer forms of leverage, and code wasn't really possible in, say, like till the last 100 years or so, like that, right? Probably less. But as you see here, as technology has advanced from just, say, computers to your own personal laptops and machines to phone devices to then, say, software platforms, which are for consumers and B2B, and then at some point to AI, and then now even AI agents, you do not need permission to spin up agents, create them at scale, to say work for you, fulfill clients at scale. And it becomes very, very powerful, especially in 2026 with all these new agent frameworks that are coming out. Because if you create one for yourself and you just create a sort of template and then you just white label it, scale it out at scale to across various different companies. Like, for instance, I don't know how big the Go high level team is, but they have a pretty powerful software because you can pretty much white label, like you have this, you create this agency account, right? You can get this agency account, then you can create like a whole entire setup. You just copy and paste across all your clients and just scale it from there. That is incredibly powerful. You know what I mean? So whether or not they're a big team or not, but just I foresee how you can apply this to AI agents and just some conversations I've been having with some people I'm working with. This is a common trend and pattern that I'm seeing when it comes to say how you can potentially work with AI agents, where say you build out, say, custom outcomes they can deliver at scale. People subscribe to outcomes. People can then push these outcomes out at scale where you just build it literally once like a piece of software or automation, and then people who find value in it, they're going to pay for it. You know what I mean? They're going to pay for it. Maybe they'll use it for themselves. Maybe it's like a white labeled product where they can onboard their own clients. So it really just depends on what kind of network effect it has, and then if there's any sort of viral effect inside of the product as well. But I kind of digress from what I was showing before. But the thing is, like, these older forms of leverage, right? It required a lot of permission, capital, maybe resources upfront just to get something working. Like, think about it. Like, if you're trying to start a mining company, you need a lot of resources. You need a lot of people. You probably need some sort of investment. Maybe you need permission to even access land and stuff like that. So it's this massive barrier to entry in order just to start that sort of business. Whereas now with just software, you're literally creating with your ideas. You know what I mean? Now, like, it's so stupid simple with like Claude Code or Desktop or any of these tools that you're using out there, that if you know how to set up the agent and things of that nature, how to like get the integrations, the skills, and all that set up, you're literally just prompting the AI agents to create a business, right? Or even just 10xing your productivity, and you're zooming at a crazy fast rate. And I did kind of like brush over this, but it's just traditionally how businesses work is that as they scale, they also scale in terms of headcount, employees, costs to maintain everyone, training costs, intellectual capital, and labor capital. So how fast people are coming to understand your code base or say your systems and things of that nature, right? Where say with an agent, you just give them the systems once, or these AIs, you program it once, you inject some sort of memory, you give the context once, and they can build out the whole entire system to you, right? Especially too if you're working with say these open source frameworks where you can just literally copy and paste, say, whatever you built out on OpenClaw to some new agent, right? Like for instance, recently I've been experimenting with the new Hermes agent, right? I created like a trading agent on that, which is right now trading actual paper money capital. So I'm just testing out right now some loops to see if it can turn money into a real profit through like an auto research system that I built for it to go get to profitability. But the thing is, like, I did this once, and now in the future, if I want to refine the idea, or if I just want to scale this at scale to say other markets or say other clients, like say people want to buy this, I just sell them literally the agent setup that I created for myself. You know what I mean? It just took a one-time research loop of just like a couple iterations, strategies that I'm looking for, and whoever finds value in it, they'll pay for it. You know what I mean? Because it's just doing work and delivering outcomes for you. Where say, you know, I don't have to get someone to onboard with it. They just subscribe to it and it just starts printing money. Like you literally like just in marketing, right? You want to make everything you present on the internet or whatever it is that you're doing, where you literally just press a button and it just prints money, saves money, or saves you time, right? That's how ridiculously stupid simple you want your offers to be. And especially too if you want to scale with agents, because then if it's permissionless, you set up the foundation right, then you can just scale this thing as like crazy. And the beautiful thing about AI and things like that is it's hopefully going to be getting a lot more cheaper over time. I know there's a lot of talk of, say, some really powerful models coming out, like, say, Mythos from Claude, which is going to be one of the most expensive models. And it could become a problem in the future where, say, only the elite can perhaps maybe even access the best frontier models, which can be a problem in itself. But if you use fast inference tools like, say, Grok, like not from X Grok, like GROQ, right, where they have this insanely fast inference. So if you use tools like that, you can drop down your cost of models like to extreme cheap with also fast latency. And if you could keep your costs low, and as you scale, keep everything low, then this thing is literally scalable like crazy. Where I say with humans or just human labor, virtual assistants, there's the curve to say, train the person to make sure they're up to par to your expectations. Are they fulfilling work at, say, the 80% capacity? Or say to the 100% capacity. I mean, like between 80 and 100 is like a massive difference, especially too if you don't feel comfortable delegating work to say virtual assistants or new people. It's kind of hard, right? Because you are giving out ownership and responsibility to someone else to manage your own clients, especially too if they screw something up, it's gonna be a massive problem. Whereas say with agents, you can fine tune it and say like a development environment, sandbox environment, make sure everything is to the expectations of what you're looking for. And then you can split test with current customers, or maybe say even some new ones that you are onboarding to see whether or not everything's up to par and just carefully pay attention to it. But over time, as you refine and tweak the system, it's going to get better over time, which is one of the best things about AI. Once it gets to a point, you love it, it's always just going to have a consistent output. And also too, now with like all like these new different GitHub repos and all of these different like auto research loops coming out, you can optimize the performance all on autopilot. It's insane. And the thing about this is that I've been speaking a lot about this in my recent videos, but a lot of people, they use AI agents and just AI in general wrong. It really just starts with a foundation. It's how you perceive the AI. What do you do? Like, how do you view this as an extension of yourself, of your own thinking? Because if you set the foundation right, think about it. Like, I mean, if you look into habits, if you look into, say, some of the greatest businesses out there in the world, they're all just systems at the end of the day. And if you have those strong foundations from the very beginning, especially with your AI agents, and if you're looking to scale, save money, or even like make more money with your business or some sort of project that you're working on, then you don't want to just treat it as a simple chatbot. Because if you're chatting with it like it's just a chatbot, you're already setting yourself up for failure. You want this thing to be a companion, delegate work to it, outsource work to it, systemize things to it, teach it, train it, give it the right tools and skills, because then this thing's going to be on crack. This thing's going to be on steroids. It can do so many things, right? Like now, if you give the right connectors and skills to your Claude desktop, like this is beginner friendly, right? Like not going like deeper into say some of these open source tools, but if you give your Claude desktop skills, connectors, use Cowork, this thing can literally access your computer and just start doing work for you. It's insane. And the more it understands your memory, the more it understands how it is working with you. And I'm not too sure if Claude is up to par like right now. I personally like using Claude inside of a personal master code base. And then say when you connect it into your code base, it's kind of having like a local OpenClaw instance inside, which is like your own agent system. And you can pretty much create the cron jobs. You can get this thing connected to your phone or whatever, but I just kind of keep it simple here with a code base, interact with it, and it has just a bunch of context about me. It's kind of like my Obsidian where I can just connect it here to say my notes on my computer, sync it to my phone, things like that. So I find the same structure kind of quite powerful when it comes to say managing something that is universal and kind of just having everything built there versus say separating it in these different environments. But nonetheless, I try everything, say working with OpenClaw instances in the cloud to working with this here to see if it's going to become any better. And quite honestly, when you set up Claude with a code base and then you just kind of replicate the structure and formatting of what say a OpenClaw format looks like, and then you just do it for this, it's quite powerful in itself too. So definitely something to consider. But nonetheless, I preach on systems. You want to have the systems from the very beginning so these things can execute and build things for you. You want it to be like an orchestrator where the relationship you have with these agents, they can go out there and spawn agents, create new skills, research tasks. You can go on a walk, prompt it, create a slideshow. There was a bit of a while ago where I was literally just producing slideshow videos and I was just getting some topic ideas and stuff like that. But the thing is, I was coming up with these ideas all in my mind as I would go on a morning walk, and I would just prompt my OpenClaw to deploy and create the slideshows with some images as I was on a walk. And then by the time I get back from the walk, the slideshow would be ready, and I would just literally follow through the slideshows with maybe just a few tweaks to my preference on a YouTube video. You know what I mean? And that's quite powerful in itself. It's fully automated. So it really just depends on the relationship and the systems you set up with your AI agents from the very beginning. But the more so you create these systems as a foundation, right? How you manage your life, how all the reports and data get fed into you, how do you make decisions? If you can plug the AI agent into anything, and it's really just to give you the mindset and the philosophy behind how everything works, you can make your AI agent system extremely powerful. It's going to be cracked. And I know here we're talking about like this unicorn $1 billion company, right? Like everyone wants that. Everyone wants to have their own business do that. And the thing is, like I said before, it's very possible in the current state and environment of everything coming out, right? People have been preaching the solopreneur models, the one person business, all this. And the thing is, like all these models are possible and you can do that, right? You definitely can do that. And the thing that I like to preach that I'm very bullish on is how you can start as an agency and then literally scale like a startup. So if I go here on my Miro, I'm actually going to show you what I mean by that. Because traditionally, when you looked at, say, let me just pull this up real quick. Traditionally, when you looked at agencies, like if this is a Y and X axis, they scaled like this. And the reason why is because as your clients scale, your costs scale, it's not linear where say like a startup where you are kind of unprofitable and negative in the beginning. So I'll show you, this is of like the agency model, right? And then of a startup, it's not that you're profitable in the beginning, because the thing is you don't make all your profit and say your money back of like say the lifetime value or whatever of a customer right off the bat. That's why there's a lot of investments, funding required just to get a startup off the ground. So usually the curve looks like this before it's hyper scalable like that. You know what I mean? So it really just depends on like how deep this curve is of unprofitable you are before it's profiting. You know what I mean? That's the thing about subscription model businesses, is that you're not making your money right off the bat, because if you're, let's say for apps, let's say your customer lifetime value is $30 and you're spending $10 to acquire the customer and you make back $10 per month. It's going to take you 3 months, 3 cycles before you're actually like breaking even. And then anything beyond that, assuming they don't churn, then you're going to be profitable. Whereas say with like e-commerce model, the business model looks like this. It's more of like a stair step, especially if you have your own product. So the thing about that is like it's different, because you grow and then you have to like compensate for the stock. You have to figure out how to grow your ops, and then you have to you're kind of like stagnant, but then you grow it again and then you create your operations, and then it can compensate for like the higher volume that you're pushing out there. So every single model is different. And the thing about how agencies can potentially scale up as a startup, I'm not saying it to be an agency out here. I'm just saying it's a profitable business right at the beginning, and then as you start integrating agents, you can literally scale like a startup like that, because you are removing the time element from the work that you're doing, which is now what AI agents can offer you. Because before, if say before the model here is that it's very linear. The reason why is because the leverage that is offered out there, say like, okay, well, how much can really say a Zapier or a Make automation offer you? Not that much as compared to say an AI agent that can fulfill stuff for you at scale. You know what I mean? It can fulfill stuff at scale, it can drop your costs, it can optimize different inefficient processes within your business. So then that really makes it truly scalable like a startup at some point, because if you could remove the time element of human labor and involvement in the business model, then you can really scale like a startup. But the thing is, the beautiful thing about this is you can charge high ticket right off the bat. And then on top of that, what you can do is just start refunding all the investment and the profits into just building the systems and the automations to fill at scale. So it's just literally productizing what you're doing. And the beautiful thing about AI agents and stuff like that is because they compensate and can allow for the nuance and white glove touch that you need in say client work or one-on-one work, especially if it's all digital. Not everyone comes to you with a simple problem, right? People have their own problems. And the thing about AI agents is they can make their own decisions, decide which tree makes the most sense. And when I say tree, I mean the pathway to create these businesses, or say make a decision, and then from there offer the outcome or the value that someone is subscribing or paying you for, but the agent is fulfilling it. And I do really want to emphasize this, but the thing is, it's not like you're holding this box and everything is just included into it, because a lot of people that I talk to, maybe they're familiar with AI, maybe not, but especially the older folk, no offense to you guys if you're watching, but all I'm just trying to say is that if you have a misexpectation coming into this space with AI agents and things of that nature, if you just think you're going to install an agent and then it's just going to create you a $100 million profitable business right off the bat, you're setting yourself up for failure. And that is not exactly how you want these AI agents working within your business. Instead, you want to think of them as you want to think of them as like stock phones or say computers that you purchase, and then what you can do is you can upgrade them, you can modify them, because they're self-modifiable. But the thing is, when you're going to say these AI providers and different solutions, they're only modifiable to a certain degree and in certain areas of the AI that they allow you to on their platforms. Whereas say if you own an AI agent system, like something that's open source, OpenClaw, there's probably gonna be a bunch of more coming out in the coming months. Whatever these open source models offer you, you can customize it to the specific nth degree that you're looking for. Whereas say a platform is not going to offer you, or what you can do with say open source models. That's the beautiful thing about it, because you can make them fit your specific needs. If you have a very creative or specific business model or solution that you're looking to develop that say a platform is not going to allow you to do. So it's not that there's magic in a box, but the box that you're provided is magical, if that makes any sense. We did touch a little bit on the foundation earlier, but I want to emphasize that also here is that if you don't have the proper foundation going into this, you're going to set up for failure once again. Because if you're trying to build a business or say automate your current thing and you're still talking to this thing like a chatbot and just a one-on-one back and forth dynamic, your foundation is already flawed. Like you have to go back to the foundation, and there's going to be a lot more intellectual capital and labor cost of just say you having to refix the whole entire foundation if you mess it up from the very beginning. So it's very good and wise from the beginning just to have like a general rough understanding of what you're getting involved with, so you don't have to say backtrack a year's worth of data and work on top of whatever the heck you built. And the current state of things is that it's not like these things are magical and that they can go out there and build out your own marketing engines and stuff like that. Maybe you might want to hire someone temporarily, get the AI agent to research and understand what their processes are. And then you can build out a full entire automated marketing agent that studies and optimizes the performance on top of, say, what you build it out or prompt it to go do. But the thing is, if you just think this thing's gonna magically optimize a current broken system that you have, it's just going to do more worse of the thing that you're doing. So that's why it's kind of good to understand your business, what you're doing, or you have someone on your team that is actually really, really good with a certain process, because then what you can do is you can equip the agent to learn, to research itself, to research the best formats and things online. And then from there, when you systemize it into the agent, by systemizing the set of flows of like the learning curve, the implementation, the analysis of the numbers, then you can have a full closed loop of, say, getting an agent to go from, say, a broken, inefficient problem and not worrying about that, or not doing more of that, and then self-iterating and becoming better over time, which is ultimately what we all want. So becoming agent first does require a combination of having some sort of business acumen and at the same time being able to build these things, understand these things, and then going out there and figuring out how you're going to distribute what you're trying to do. Because the odds of you, say, having a product that just goes viral like ChatGPT initially did is very, very low. And I'm not trying to, dissuade anyone here, but things like the odds are just incredibly low. So unless you have a way to just have product-led product market fit, then that's amazing. Your product is just going to grow like crazy. That's amazing. Otherwise, don't bet on that, and bet on distribution, having the business acumen, and then figuring out exactly how you can systemize these agent flows, or just having an AI agent companion partner that can build the business out with you. And if you do that, hopefully you'll have your one person unicorn. This is Jan. See ya.